explain to folks who are on the membership side of our podcast um, about your obsession, and because I'm so worried. Um,
You know, I think Medea Goes to College is going to be a delight.
oh
No,
God.
so here's the reality.
Oh, Lord.
I'm not obsessed with Tyler Perry. I probably might have saw maybe 30% of what he produces. He produces a lot. A lot of the stuff he did in around the 2010s, I think I was tapped into. More
Mhm.
recently, I haven't been tapped in, unless it's been something that has caught national or major like pop culture when it gets to that level. And I'll watch it just like when was it when I was enough. What was it called? The more straw,
Okay.
something like that. Okay, I'll tap in. This is not really about the content of why I support Tyler Perry. It's what he's doing and what he's doing for essentially, for lack of a better expression, Black Hollywood, right? There are a lot of filmmakers. There are a lot of Black filmmakers doing positive things that we can highlight and talk about.
Mhm.
But the volume that Tyler Perry produces and the amount of people who have gotten opportunities from the work that has come from either from out of his camp or from him directly, no one can be matched with. No
Mhm.
one. And between TV series, between Netflix series, between box office, he's kept people employed. Um, and as a Black person who is in a space that is not Black run, right?
Mhm.
They take advantage of Black talent, but they're not the ones at the top making the money.
Mhm.
It's hard for me to have ill feelings against him. And I will say, I was you maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I was the most people who aren't or can identify with some of the characters that he highlights in the story he highlights. And they say, I hate how he paints people of color. I agree with that 100%. That's not what I'm here to talk about. Every rapper paint Black people in a terrible place. Every R&B singer
Not everyone.
plays Black people in a terrible, most of them, right? So I just, we got to pick and choose who we want to be critical over. And it's like if the rules apply to something, it should apply to everybody. And all I'm saying is for the amount of people of color that have gotten opportunities because they were attached to his films, I'll never deny that from him, ever.
So anyway.
So let me hear it.
Oh, goodness
It's
gracious.
art, right? I don't have to enjoy the art and appreciate it. Certain
No,
things
and
people like and don't like.
and that's why number one, Our Voices Project exists. Back in 2020, I was thinking about my contribution to the movement. I was thinking about my contribution to Black people. And what I wanted was for us to see ourselves, Black folks to see ourselves in a multifaceted light. Now, no, I don't have billions of dollars, nor would I want to be a billionaire because there are no ethical billionaires, but I digress.
Then I want to be unethical billionaire.
You
See,
we already talked about you selling out. We already talked about you not being able to wait until you could sell
I
out.
promise you, I'll do the right things if I got $1 billion. But
Do the right thing, Spike Lee. Anyway, no, I may not have billions of dollars, okay, and I don't have millions of dollars, but what I do want and what I do at every single stage of like where we're at, just as far as Our Voices Project, is always championing like other filmmakers of color, um, speaking their names in rooms that they're not in, constantly supporting folks' projects, at whatever stage, whether it's pre-production, production, post-production, distribution, all of that. And I do hope to be at a place in the future where I am doing that without having to compromise, my convictions, and showing Black folks as the multifaceted and complex human beings that we are. So like I am not going to, first of all, again, when I say I'm the biggest hater, I hate the way in which, like, again, like you said, you don't disagree with, is the way in which he paints us. And the thing is like I will have the same beef with him over the beef that I have with Paul Thomas Anderson right now, with the way in which Tiana Taylor is depicted in One Battle After Another film that I will not necessarily go into a deep dive just because like I'm just I don't want to waste my time.
Now you critical.
But I am critical because first of all, Tiana Taylor, just real quick, Tiana Taylor should have won and should be recognized and should have been recognized for 1001, which is a film that admittedly voters in both the Golden Globes and the Oscars, the Academy, did not watch. And so now they're seeing this film where she's having to play a Hollywood trope in One Battle After Another. She is playing a Jezebel, which is someone who uses their sexual prowess and uses sex to appeal to white men.
We know what a Jezebel is. They have that.
I not
They might. Okay, my
think
bad.
I'm
Okay.
educating the people, Chris.
I don't know what a Jezebel is.
Anyway, so they have her in this in this playing this trope, and then she's getting all these awards. It's like it's what they did with Holly Berry in
Training Day,
in
Denzel.
yes, yeah. So Holly Berry with Monsters Ball, Training Day with Denzel, yes. And so there's always this notion of like black folks having to be these stereotypes in order to get ahead. And I feel like the same way that Paul Thomas Anderson is doing that with One Battle After Another and Tiana Taylor, Tyler Perry has done with multiple people. Like in
Man, and I'm so
in the
glad.
thing.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
So that's what I'm saying is like that's my beef. And I cannot wait to watch that FD signifier video essay breaking down Tyler Perry, because it's not just that, like it's other things that Tyler Perry has done like in his career that I think a lot of people touch on but hasn't really been dived into. I don't even know. But yes, that is my thing. You will never see me propping up like someone like Tyler Perry. We did do on one film, and it's the only film that I will talk about that does not annoy me to death. Was 6888. We talked about 6888 on here on the podcast, which I thought was a decent film, but one out of so many other films that he's done.
You haven't watched them though. You watched from a lens of hate already, so you'll never enjoy them.
I watched them.
You watched them expecting to not like them.
No. First of all, I watched them because I wanted to give him a chance. Remember, I've come from a family.
Did you watch Why Did I Get Married and Why Did I Get Married Too?
I watched Why Did I Get Married?
Did you watch the second one?
I didn't watch the second one because I knew I wouldn't like it. No, because that's the thing. I don't want to hate watch things, Christopher. I'm not here to hate watch things.
You brought up something that's important to me.
Okay.
Because I feel this way about the Grammys and all these other places where we try to be accepted in white spaces. Oscars weren't built for us.
Of course
they
not.
never will be.
Of
Tyler
course
Perry
not.
don't make Oscars. That's not his target market. He don't make Oscar worthy.
And that's fine.
Right. So that's not what I'm.
We have the African American Film Critics Association.
Very true. What you say is you don't like how he paints black people.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, those stories that he tell are not too far from the truth.
Watch 1001. I'm telling you, there are other directors out here who are doing that, who are telling real stories of black folks, right? Without it being their entire thing or even placing them so far over that it's now a stereotype.
I don't know, because Monique got a Oscar for Precious, didn't she?
Yeah.
And how terrible was that? Do you feel that way about Precious too?
Yeah. I don't like it when people do that. I'm saying it. I didn't like Green Book.
So why are you mad at Tyler Perry for doing it?
Because he does it every single flipping time. Like it's this whole thing.
No, because
that's
this
his
time
whole
Adi
thing.
is going to college.
Oh my god! See, you're laughing because you know how ridiculous that is.
Like I said,
are you outside of your mind?
It is ridiculous. But I think Tyler Perry's in a great place to make beautiful things with his friends, and I think that's what he does.
I think we can also say confidently that we love that Tyler Perry gave Tiana Taylor one of her first movie roles
Dang, did you
in
know that?
Medea's Big Happy Family.
Did you know that?
And yeah, I did. And guess what? I would have loved for her to have, like
Is that the
other
one with Lil Bow
roles
Wow
where
too?
she's not having to play a stereotype. God, like,
So
come
are you mad at Tyler?
on.
You ever heard the
I am.
expression "don't hate the player, hate the game"?
Um,
You not mad
I
at these
I can do both. I
these
can do
leading
I can do both.
actresses,
I can do both.
these leading actresses and actors read the scripts and say, "Heck yeah, I'll do that."
Because they're looking for they're looking for opportunities, and unfortunately,
Oh, they don't have no opportunity. I thought there was so many other executive producers that were
there
doing
are
that.
there
Oh,
there
so why would they just go
are.
work with them and not
Oh
Tyler
my
Perry?
goodness.
Well, I think we
No.
can also say Maury Povich is in that movie, so we know it's about representation
Oh
first.
my gosh.
Do you understand?
That's the thing. No, I understand. I understand where you're coming from. I just don't wholeheartedly agree, and I don't agree
It's only
because
because Tyler Perry.
oh my gosh. Okay. So to give you some context, because I didn't get to fully go into this, but when I was growing up, our family, my family is big into movies, and they like to watch a whole range of films. Made sure that we watched a whole range of films, right? I got everything from westerns to sci-fi to drama to comedy, every single genre except for maybe horror. Like I got pretty much every single genre growing up. And so oftentimes when Tyler Perry came into the scene, we didn't start with the films. We started with the plays.
Yeah,
We
me
watched
too.
we
Me
watched
too.
the plays, right?
Me too.
And then from then on, when he started getting into more films, I started to watch the films because I was like, okay, clearly like, and I don't have to relate to everybody in a film. Like that's completely fine. I've had decades of where I didn't relate to characters in a film. Um and I would watch these, and the more I would watch these, the more agitated I would get, is because I'm like, maybe maybe there's some truth in it
No, it
somewhere.
is. I'm trying to tell you.
But what I'm constantly also seeing is the way in which, again, black folks are portrayed, and there's always these kind of like caricatures that come out
But they're not
through
caricatures.
these films.
Unfortunately there is, but they're not caricatures. Those are the lives of real stories.
I
They
don't know.
are.
I don't know if I
You
fully
might
believe that.
you might not understand it, and you might not know people who live those personally, but there's people who do because they identify with it. You remember? Like it'd be different. The reason why we're talking about it and the reason it
There's
got so big is because people latch onto it and they believe it and it speaks something to them. It's artistic to them. They latch onto it. And I'll give you a quick story, right? And we talking
there's a
about
lot of people though that grew up in those same conditions that don't.
right, and you got to understand, you got to keep watching these movies. A lot of them, two things can be true at the same time. Most of these places, most of these people, the ones that I watched that he's, or even the show, the series he got coming on, it's a billionaire family. They're black billionaires, and they still do ghetto stuff. Like it's still stuff that happens that So I don't know. I'm not even trying to change your mind. I'm just trying to. Your mind is made up. But I just want to give you this story. I just want to give you this story, right? um People do want to be heard and seen,
Mhm,
right? And they
mhm.
want to know that their situation, they're not the only one going through it, and they're
Sure,
not alone.
sure.
I know personally way more stories and more people and families that relate to a lot of the Tyler Perry movies that you don't know, personally in Rochester. And I want to give you a quick example because the one thing that came out was this movie Straw that came out with Taraji P. Henson that I thought was amazing. And that was one of his more recent things that I saw. And like I said, I don't watch anything. So I was, on Facebook trying to be a Facebook comedian, and I talked about how sometimes, you ever get to a red light and just zone out.
Mhm,
And I said, sometimes I do that, and then someone beeping the horn behind me wakes me up, and I'm like, oh shoot, the light's green, I gotta go.
mhm.
And I'll put on Facebook, I'm so grateful for those people who, honk their horn as soon as the light turned green, because I was just sitting in my car thinking about why did my mother get so upset when I missed the bus.
Mhm.
Right? That was a thing. Like when, she acted like
Yeah.
the world was in there when I missed the bus to school. Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah,
God.
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
man,
yeah,
late, no,
yeah.
like you just
For
drop me
sure,
off and
for
go to
sure, for
work.
sure.
So then that movie comes out,
Mhm,
right? And I watch it.
mhm.
And you watch a single mother with a child where it's just a single day where everything went wrong. Were you raised by a single mom?
No, I was not.
Okay. So I was raised by a single mom.
Mhm,
And I talked to her and I said, "Man, that movie kind of spoke to me because I just thought about like that was you with 2 kids." She
Mhm.
was like, "Yeah." And you know what she said to me? She never even brought up she before when I posted status, she said, she didn't even bring it up. It was at that I didn't even know she saw it.
Mhm.
At that moment, she said, "Now you see why I was so upset when you missed the bus. That's just another thing for me to have to worry about."
Mhm.
So these stories that people are experiencing that you might think are caricatures or you might think don't happen, you think they're just coming out of Tyler Perry brains. There's hundreds of people who are appreciative that he writes those stories and make people feel listened to and heard, and that someone knows what I'm going through. And the amount of people and the comments I've saw and the things I've looked in for that movie Straw talked about no one understands what it's like to raise a child by yourself on a day when everything goes wrong. Have you seen the movie yet?
No,
Oh, yeah. So
because I don't
we
plan.
gotta watch the movies first before
No,
we can
I
talk about him.
really no, because of the films that again I grew up on with Tyler Perry. Like with Tyler Perry, I watched film after film after film after film after film of like all of these stories where I'm like, it's the same characters in every single film. And there's also like, again, this does not put us like in a multifaceted, not even a great light. I don't need my characters necessarily to be non-messy. I just need them to be complex.
I think you need to watch some recent stuff, and then we have this conversation.
Because
Because
there's
even if
also because
so,
there's also other things that Tyler Perry has done, and outside of like the film where I'm just like
we're not. We
I
talking
would
about film
rather
though.
not.
We talking about film. Because we
When we're
could.
talking
Because we
about
could look.
film,
That's all we talk about. Because we could talk about what every
okay,
celebrity's doing outside
right,
when they're not on
okay,
film.
fine, fine. To no, because guess what? Because we have a video SAS who has definitely gone through that. Gone through the entire thing of or who Tyler Perry is as a person. But if we're talking about a filmmaker, I respect filmmakers who have who have quite the range. Quite the range. Whose characters I can look at from film to film to film and see so many different aspects, right? Of especially if they are highlighting Black folks or centering Black voices, where it is, again, like I said, multifaceted. I wasn't seeing that
But you start
with
watching the movies though.
I stopped watching because I didn't want to be hate watching
So
movies at
tell
this
me, what
point.
was the last Tyler Perry movie you watched at the time it came out, and when was it?
I mean, I like I said, I watched 688. I tried to watch, oh God, what is this? If you look up the,
You know, it was a Medea Halloween special.
oh God,
You watched-
ridiculous. No, because then I'm also just like, it's
I
it's
mean,
also
there's
problems I
so
have.
many.
There's problems I also have
Like
with
I
like
said, what I
me-
start the interview with,
of
it
like
didn't
the
even
mid
matter. It's not even about the content.
of like the
It's about
Medea.
what he has done for Black Hollywood over the last 20 years. So yeah, you cannot like there's certain rappers that I just like what they do for culture. I don't prefer their music. They matter to. I just don't listen to their music. Right? There's certain people, certain artists we have that everybody else like and we don't, but we just like what they do for the culture. And that's how I feel about Tyler Perry. No, I was you 5 years ago.
There are
Then
there
I st-
are there there are other filmmakers who have also like they've also introduced like actors into the film that aren't Tyler Perry that introduced them into the film industry.
we talking about Tyler Perry though.
But I'm saying no, I'm trying to tell you like why I don't support Tyler Perry. And I'm coming from it from again having watched several of his films, not having watched others because they follow a formula. Like they
He
follow a
might have he
formula.
probably done created and released 30 movies since you last seen his movie. And I guarantee you, if you talk to Sam Pollard about the very first documentary he did to what he does now, it's probably a big jump, right? So if you're going to continue to hold and harp on him on what you've seen, like I said, we're going 20 years. He's been making movies for 20 years now.
I understand
And
that.
if you
I
didn't even
understand
see, and
that.
he might have released 10 in the last 2-3 years. You get what I'm saying? Like this is, so there's a good chance that there's probably 20 movies that you haven't even seen yet. And you already made this decision that I'm not even gonna watch him because he's all in this, he's all that. What if you got judged off the first 3 projects you made for the rest of your life?
Okay, fine. Then I'm not. Then those films are not for me. But you can't. Those films are not for those people. But you also can't say that I didn't show people in a multifaceted light. You can't say that, and that's what I'm saying
Well, I think that's
about Tyler
subjective because I
Perry.
think he does do show people in a multifaceted light. I think he does.
I don't. And we're gonna have to
you
agree to disagree.
but you don't, and neither one of us watch his stuff. But I watch more and more recently than you have. So, like I said,
I just said I watched the 688. What were the other
but
films?
that wasn't a 688. Which one was that about? That wasn't.
That was based on a true story. That was based on the battalion of Black
Right. That's
women.
what I mean. That's it. But that's different than his normal stuff. That's different than what his.
So it's different from his normal stuff.
Yeah.
So
family and gossip and trauma and tragedy. That's different. He was retelling a true story.
Right.
You just
and
said.
I
That's
just
different.
said, and I
Those
just
are
said
that's
that
his
his
different
films,
bag.
and I just said that his films follow a formula. So for you to tell me that 6888 is not like his typical stuff,
It's not. But I'm still agreeing that is more multifaceted than you're alluding to. I do. His character, to me, his characters are multifaceted. And then if you watch the ones I watched, they are billionaires and millionaires. Like he starts with, most of them take place in Atlanta, which has 11,000 millionaires and has the most concentrated amount of millionaires in one location. They're all in Atlanta, right? So to me, I just see it differently. I agree. And like I said, it's not even about Tyler Perry. I'll continue to talk about the volume, how he creates, how much he creates, and the opportunities he creates for other people. That's it. You're right. I don't care too much about half the movies he make, but I'm telling you, I'm still going to support him as a man of color and as in a space where typically Black people don't excel and get to the point where he has, and the opportunities he created for other people.
And I won't be. All right. Cool beans. And that concludes this part of the podcast. Thanks y'all for listening.
This has been a presentation of the Lunchador Podcast Network.
Watch Straw. Okay.
Reminder, FD Signifier, 3 hours video essay, 3 to 4 hour video essay. Go watch it. Well,